Brandon is interested in marine animals because he feels that they are similar yet so different, such as the many types of octopus. These animals look similar, but their habitats, habits, hunting techniques may be different, and he thinks that many marine animals are mysterious as many of them live in the deep sea, and humans may not have access to their habitats at all times. Okay, next we have Tiana. Where's Tiana?
Oh,
Sorry, can you say hi again?
hi.
Where are you? Can you wave? Okay. Hi, Tiana. So Tiana loves math and science, and even though she hasn't done science as a subject in school yet, her most memorable place is the Osaka Aquarium, where she was excited to see the mola mola, also known as the sunfish. She finds marine animals interesting and unique as they have different features, and she thinks that the underwater world is fascinating and mysterious, especially in the deep depth of the sea. Okay, next we have Christine. Where is Christine?
Yeah.
Say hi to everybody.
Uh,
Okay, hi Christine. Christine loves outdoors adventure, and one of her most memorable places is the safari in Sri Lanka because she loves to see animals in the wild. She enjoys intertidal walk, and when she's able to dive, she would like to go deep sea diving to look at the other side of the beautiful world. She feels that the world we live in should be in harmony with nature, and it starts with her. And next we have Thierry. Hi Thierry. Can you say hi?
hi.
Great. Hi, Tiare. So Tiare loves sports and outdoor activities, and he likes to play badminton, soccer, volleyball, and basketball. He's fascinated by marine animals, especially those that live in the depth of the ocean. He is curious to know how marine animals can survive under immense pressure of the ocean, how they can find food and avoid predators. He thinks it is fun to learn about the adaptations of the marine animals in order for them to survive. Okay, and last but not least, we have Kara. Where is Kara? Kara, can you say hi?
Hi.
Hello, Kara. So Kara enjoys playing the classical piano and it has been a large part of her life. She's currently at grade 8. Wow. She is interested in marine animals because she wonders how they could survive in such a harsh environment. She thinks it is incredible how they can thrive in such places. Okay, wow, we have 6 very exciting, very passionate young marine biologists. I will not hold out the time anymore. I will now hand it over to Sik Chuan and the young marine biologists so that they can share with you all about sharks. Okay, so Sik Chuan, over to you, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Could you put up the slides?
Okay, give me a second.
All right. Okay, hi everyone. Um, Before we start, quick rundown on sharks. Um, Now, I know that you all have already done your research on sharks and you are given a series of questions as a base to work off. So, after my quick presentation, I expect a lot of wonderful things from all of you. All right, so I like sharks. Sharks are one of the more misunderstood creatures in the world because, let's face it, to many people, sharks are not cute and cuddly, not like this one here in the picture, right? And then you have movies like this one. Next slide, please. So we have this movie here, which was made in the 70s, and basically it scared everybody from going into the sea. And, this is a movie that apparently great white shark terrorized people. So movies like this did no service to sharks, but we have better movies now um, where sharks are not, being shown as terrible, terrible creatures. They actually live in nature for a reason. Next slide, please. So there are many different kinds of sharks in the world. We have sharks ranging in size from the largest sharks in the world, the whale shark on the top left-hand side. Um, then everybody recognizes the great white, but sharks also live in a group of fish that includes rays and as well as an obscure group that lives in the deep sea. So very quickly around, we have the whale shark, we have the great whites, manta rays. One of the most awesome sharks that I've actually seen while I was diving is the Thresher Shark, which has this huge long tail there. And they use that tail actually to whack other fish to stun them so that they can turn around and eat the fish. Next slide, please. Here are some of the common sharks that we can see in Southeast Asian waters, including Singapore. Blacktip reef sharks, the blue spotted fantail ray on the right bottom side, and then the coral cat shark on the left bottom side, which to me is arguably one of the cutest sharks I've seen. I've had one of these sharks swim up to my feet, by the way, and then sort of poke around my feet and then swim away. Next slide. Now here, one of some of the fish that very few people see, mostly because they live in the deep sea. By deep sea, I'm meaning from about 200 meters deep and deeper than that. They don't often come up to the shallow waters where scuba divers go and visit. So we have on the right-hand side, this is a shark that is called a prehistoric shark because the members of this shark family have lived in our world for thousands, possibly millions of years. This is called a frill shark. And then on the left-hand side, you get really, really strange looking things. And although they're members of the whole big shark group, they're slightly different. These are called ghost sharks because they're hard to see, mostly because they live in very, very deep water, all right? So you have the long-nosed ghost shark and you have the plow-nosed ghost shark. Next slide. This is a quick rundown on the big shark family. So as you can see, we have the rays, sharks, and some of them you can see they actually list from what time period they have been on Earth. Now, sharks have lived on Earth for a long time. All right, I'm not going to give you a number because that's part of your research. You should tell me what number that is later and tell you how close it is. Sharks can look as weird as a hammerhead shark and other sharks as before. Next slide. Here are some of the prehistoric sharks. The biggest shark on our planet, which no longer exists today, although you hear stories about, these sharks could theoretically still be found in the deep, deep ocean. But the megalodon on the left-hand top side was sort of measured without, you can't be certain about the actual size of these sharks, but they base the size of the shark on the size of the teeth found. And they estimate the size of this shark anywhere from 15 meters to 20 meters. And you can see just how big it is compared to the whale shark, which is currently the largest shark in the world and the largest fish in the world, as well as the great white shark, which is still at around about 10 meters or so, a very, very big fish, all right? On the top right-hand side, you have this really odd-looking shark with the teeth around the spiral. And nobody knew what the function of these teeth were, but they're guessing now that this particular shark foraged or looked for food around the seabed and tended to go after snails. So they could actually work that spiral jaw into the snail shell and dig out or scrape out the snail. And then you have this weird thing here down at the bottom right-hand corner called a heliacanthus. And I don't think the scientists still know what the function of the forward fin is because it just looks very odd. Moving on, next slide. As we know, fish have scales. Most of the fish that we eat. Oh, by the way, who eats fish here? I'm a fish eater. I eat seafood.
Yeah,
You
I eat fish. I do eat fish. This is not very common.
I eat fish.
Yeah.
I thought almost everybody eats fish, to be honest.
Well, yes, but there's quite a number of people who don't eat fish for personal reasons. But as somebody who also catches fish, I have to clean my own fish, and fish have scales, and you have to scrape them off. Well, sharks are different. They don't have scales like fish do. They have sort of what are modified teeth. They are called dermal denticles. And if you look at this slide closely, they function to help the fish swim very, very quickly in one direction. So they're very streamlined, but they're also very rough. So when you hear people talking about sharks have sandpaper-like skin, that's because of the dermal denticles. All right, next slide. Okay, I have to bring this one in. Sharks have very good sensors. So they've got a variety of ways to detect where they're going. They've got varieties of ways to detect where the food is. And like all fish, they have something called a lateral line. So it helps them to detect their entire surroundings. So that if something swims next to them, they can instantly sense it. Now, the piece of sensor that they have that's centered around the nose, as you can see around here, has a very long name. It's called Ampule of Lorenzini, and basically it detects electrical signals, all right? I might be asking a few questions on that later, so be prepared. Next slide. The next few slides are going to be about conservation, all right? So sharks are very important for us. They are considered apex predators, which means they're at the very top of the food chain. Now, because they are at the top of the food chain, if anything happens to part of the food chain, they will suffer. And we can see that already. But also, because top of the food chain, which means they control populations of their food item, which are things like smaller fish, or even clams and snails, because not all sharks eat fish. There are sharks that go below and raise as well, and they feed off the seabed and they eat things like snails and clams. So if we take something that can control populations, populations will grow out of control, and then it creates imbalance. Next slide. Again, this is basically what I was saying. Everything is in a balance. If you just remove one part of the food chain, things can go off balance very quickly. And we've seen that in the past. All right, next slide. Actually, the next two slides I'll go through very quickly. We'll bring up the topic of conservation. And in Asia in particular, shark's fin soup is a very big cultural thing. Now, sharks have been eaten throughout the world. We cannot just blame the Asians and the Chinese market for eating sharks, because in other parts of the world, in the Mediterranean, in the Pacific, sharks have been caught and eaten for food, but that's the whole shark. All right. It wasn't until next slide, where shark's fin soup became a prestigious dish, that became a problem. So now what's going to happen is that sharks are only being caught for one part of it, and the rest of it is not being used. So this is something that we call unsustainable use. All right, I'll stop there. Last slide. Everybody should recognize this person, or this shark, sorry.
Is it from the memo?
Yep, this is Bruce the shark, and his favorite thing to say now is fish are friends and not food. Okay, so I mean, I admit I eat fish, but fish are also our friends. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to have all of you have a chance to say something for yourselves. Okay, so you've all been given a list of topics that you can pick off. I'm sure some of you have decided, what is your favorite topic here and there. But I'm going to open the floor for all of the panelists right now. So as Lisa and Shu Ying said, before you start coming in with your questions, put your hand up so that we know who's going to talk. And I'd also like to give everyone an equal share to talk. So everybody will have something to contribute. All right, so who wants to go first?
Our
If not-
panelists, who wants to go first?
If not,
Okay,
I will.
Brandon. I see Brandon raised his hand. Yeah.
All right, you have to unmute yourself, Brandon. Hi, Brandon.
Sharks. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brendan. Today I'll be sharing about sharks. What are sharks? Most sharks are predatory fish that have been around for millions of years. They're super sensors and grow new teeth non-stop. They are mostly shaped like a torpedo so that they can swim fast, as their prey can swim up to 65 kilometers per hour. Some sharks filter feed by opening their mouths wide and capturing small plankton that get stuck inside. Examples of filter feeder sharks are megamouths, basking sharks, and whale sharks. Most sharks are predatory fish. Which sharks roam the earth today? Almost 400 over species. The most famous shark, the great white. The great white sharks are one of the world's most famous sharks, made famous by the movie Jaws. Great whites derive their names come from the fact that they have white bellies. Great whites are fearsome predators that like to feed on macrofish, and sometimes they're also known as the mako shark. The great white hunting tactics are to bite the belly of their prey by going straight up at them. The great white's top part is either gray or black or dark gray, because if the prey look at the water from below, they can see nothing because the great white is camouflaged with the seafloor. And if their prey looks up, the shark is also camouflaged as it has a white belly. Although great whites are very dangerous, they're not the most although they're dangerous, they don't really like to eat humans. But there's another shark that eats almost anything. The tiger shark. Suits of armor, car plates, and even horses have been found inside the tummies of the tiger sharks. The fastest shark, the short-fin mako. The fastest shark in the world is the short-fin mako. It can reach up to 65 kilometers per hour. Short-fin mako give birth to live young, but it is not a mammal. A baby shark is known as a pup. A war rages on in the short-fin mako's tummy. The stronger pup will eat the weaker ones for food. The Greenland shark's the most poisonous shark. The Greenland shark's flesh is poisonous to humans unless it is washed thoroughly. Greenland sharks are found in the coast of Greenland. They are one of the slowest sharks. They are found 2,200 meters below the surface. Hammerheads. Hammerhead sharks electroreception are to find stingrays that are hidden below the sand. The electrosensors are placed on the bottom of their hammerhead, and it acts like a metal detector, which can detect the electrical pulse of a stingray. And most sharks, when they grab their prey, they shake it and tear bits of flesh off. That That makes the sharks almost inescapable. How to protect them, and why do we need to protect them? Despite sharks being resilient, dangerous, and fearsome as they are still at risk of extinction. Humans killing them for their fins for shark fin soup. Shark fins are made of keratin, the same protein as your fingernails. Imagine eating a bowl of fingernail soup. Humans cut off the fins of the sharks and throw them back into the sea. Without fins, the shark cannot swim and they drown to death. What irony! We need to protect sharks because they prevent reef-eating fish from overeating the reef. They're the top predator in the food chain. And if the coral dies, fish die, and fish-eating animals will die. And we eat the fish-eating animals, and if they die, we follow suit. We're all part of the circle of life. That is why sharks are important. The best way to conserve them is to not eat their fins, don't drink shark fin soup, and don't buy shark teeth jewelry. Refrain from using plastic, as most of it gets dumped into the oceans, and sharks eat it and die as they are unable to digest plastic.
Okay, thank you, Brandon. Maybe we stop here first for a while before we go into how we can save the sharks. We want to learn more about the sharks first and how they hunt and how they live before we talk about saving them. Okay, so thank you for sharing with us about great white shark, tiger shark, hammerhead shark, so many different types. Does anyone else want to add to what Brandon has shared? Okay, I see.
See Tiana.
Yeah, Tiana.
Then Kara. Hang on, Brandon.
I want to share the general information about sharks first, then I'll share a bit about how sharks breathe.
Okay.
There are 440 types of sharks in the world. The whale shark is the largest type of shark. It gets 40 feet long. The dwarf lantern shark is the smallest shark. It is only about 6 inches and can fit your hand. Sharks don't have any bones. The skeleton of a shark is made of cartilage. Cartilage is a rubbery material. The skeleton of a shark is made of cartilage, which makes a shark very flexible. Shark's teeth are not flexible. A shark uses its teeth to bite, but not chew. They swallow their food. Instead, a shark may have as many as 20,000 teeth during its life. Whale sharks are very gentle and has white spots on its body. The great white shark is very intense. Sharks are a special category of fish. They live in every ocean in the world, mostly found in warm waters. Some even live in rivers and lakes. Some live near the surface, some live in deep waters, and some live on the ocean floor. Some sharks stay on coral reefs, while others live in the open ocean. There are many different species of sharks. Did you know that there is a cave in Mexico that allows sharks to have enough oxygen and allows the sharks to sleep? The cave's name is called the Cave of Sleeping Sharks. Sharks need to move to breathe. Sharks have to keep swimming all the time to keep the water into their mouth and out of their gills. Breathing in this manner is called REM ventilation. The shark swims through the water, ramming the water down its throat and through its gills to breathe. This is the most efficient way for a shark to breathe. Without swimming, the nurse shark, the white-tip reef shark, the lemon shark, they all practice this form of breathing called buccal pumping. The Thresher Shark perfectly designed to devastate their prey. The Thresher Shark uses its long tail as a whip to kill sardines when they are all together. The tail speed may reach about to 50 miles per hour. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiana. I've got Kara here who would like to share a bit about overfishing. So, Kara, over to you.
The main reason behind sharks dying is overfishing. One example of why overfishing happens is shark's fin soup. With so many people drinking this soup, many sharks are being killed. This causes the number of sharks to be on the decline. Millions of sharks are killed annually to feed humans' demand for shark fin soup. The shark's fin is retrieved for the soup by slicing off the shark's fin and throwing it back into the ocean. Without its fin, the shark cannot swim and will sink to the bottom of the ocean and die of starvation. The shark may also bleed to death. Thus, we should never drink shark's fin soup and do our best to protect these sharks. Thank you.
Thanks, Kara. All right, guys. Now, a lot of you brought up some really important points, but we can't talk about it. Otherwise, this will go on forever. But just as a sort of like a trivia now, we know that sharks live in the sea. But do you think that sharks can live in fresh water?
Yes. Bull
Yes?
sharks and lemon sharks, I think.
Yeah, lemon sharks have been found up rivers. Bull
sharks.
sharks.
Most
Say?
sharks they can't live. Most sharks can't live in fresh water because it doesn't have the salt.
This is true, but a few sharks are found up in freshwater situations, especially bull sharks, as Brendan quite rightly said.
Bull sharks
And-
go to the river to lay the eggs or raise the young or something.
Yep.
Like that.
Yep. And bull sharks are one of those that are now classified as man-eaters because they can attack, sort of unprovoked attack sometimes. So, you know, when you're of course, back to Australia. Australia is the place where you get a lot of dangerous animals. And they have found bull sharks up the rivers because they go from the sea, past the mangroves, upriver, lay their eggs, which I have a question for all of you. Sharks. Now, some of you brought up that sharks give birth to live young. Is this true of all sharks? Maybe somebody who's not Brendan.
No, I don't think it's true because I have seen some video like shark lays, like shark swallow special egg, and then the shark just leave, and then after some time later, the egg hatches out the small baby shark.
Yep, you're absolutely correct. So there are sharks that lay eggs, and there are sharks that give birth to live young. So we have the whole range there, all right? Now, there's special words. These are fairly big words. The sharks that lay eggs are called oviparous, and sharks that give birth to live young are called viviparous. You can look up the words later, but you have sharks that are halfway in between. So initially they have eggs inside their bodies, but the eggs hatch out inside their bodies. And then they end up giving birth to live young, all right? So there's a bigger word for that. It's called ovoviviparous, okay? Do you guys know what sharks, the baby sharks, do inside? Have you heard
Yes.
what happens?
I know what happens. The
Okay, Brenda?
biggest and the strongest will eat the weakest for food.
Yep. So we have basically what is called intrauterine cannibalism.
I think Tiana is
which
raising
is
her hand as well.
Quite scary. All right, Tiana?
Not only pups eat pups, but when the babies are born, the mother may eat their own pups.
This is true. And species cannibalism happens throughout the animal kingdom. So not just sharks do it. We've seen lions do it as well. Yes,
Hamster fish as well. The reason why hamster eat their baby is crowd control, and fish eat their eggs so that they can breathe faster sometimes.
Yep. All right, we're missing a few people that have joined us. Samuel, Yian, Raylan? Is Raylan? No, Raylan's not a panelist. Christine, have you got anything to say there?
Some of other than human posing threats to sharks, there are also other than overfishing. There are also pollution, like plastic pollution, and hence, because since when the surface of the water is covered in trash, then the sharks at the shallow waters won't be able to will be very the sharks at the shallow waters usually are used to the warmth of the sun, but since now that the rubbish are covering the surface, so it gets colder and then they'll be pushed down to the bottom. They'll might not be able to adapt fast enough to the changing temperatures.
Good. Yep, very good, Christine. Right. Okay, so all of you have brought up very good points about sharks. And I know some of you are young right now, but you have already mentioned that you know people who scuba dive or your parents scuba dive. When you get old enough, for some of you, when you start, would you like to learn how to scuba dive, and would you like to learn to swim with sharks?
Yes.
Okay, show of hands. Who wants to swim with sharks? Jiaru, you don't want to swim with sharks? Okay, cool. All right. I have been lucky enough to swim with sharks, yes, as well as when I do intertidal walks, as Shu Ying brought up. I'm one of the volunteers with Sisters Island, and when they open up again, hopefully we will see some of you on the walks that I help to guide. At night, it's a good time. Pity. NParks might not let us go into Sisters Island at night, but maybe we could sort of twist it around a bit. But at night is a really good time to see coral cat sharks, and they will come up right into the shallows, and they will hunt for, what do you think they hunt for in the shallows at night? All right, Brendan? You're still muted, Brendan?
Small fish, small snails, or maybe just things that are very small that can fit inside their mouths.
Yep. So they do have to go after small fish. Now, what's the advantage of hunting fish at night to everyone? So maybe Samuel, you'd like to answer that one?
Wait, okay.
Yeah, eyes can see in dark. That's why they can hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's something else that fish, well, most fish do at night. What do you all do at night?
Sleep.
Yes. So it's easier to catch a sleeping fish. They don't tend to run away that quickly. Okay. Now, a couple of you have brought up sharks have been on our planet for a very long time. Okay, this is a quick throw-out question. How long have sharks and their whole family been on our planet? Kara.
55 million years.
Okay, thank you, Samuel. Do you want to add to that, Kara? Okay. And I showed you some pictures of the really weird-looking sharks, right? Do you think all sharks look that strange? No. Okay. Were there any shark-like creatures before these things came about? So we're talking about the very, very early. So you're saying 350 million years ago. You go to that very beginning. Do you think there was an ancestor of sharks, and what did it look like? Okay, maybe Kara, you try and answer that one. If not, Kara.
The earliest fossil evidence for sharks or their ancestors are a few scales dating back to 450 million years ago.
Yep.
There were shark-like scales, but there were no teeth at that time.
Yep, excellent. Yeah. If you all go back to the very early times, and I don't know about you kids these days, but when I was a kid your age, I was fascinated by dinosaurs. And one of my dreams was to find my own dinosaur bone. But I lived in KL and there were no dinosaurs in KL at that time. But now one of my dreams, and hopefully I'll get a chance to if I go to the correct country or location, is to find evidence of some of the earliest fishes, which were the armored fishes. And these strange looking fish, the head was covered in armor, and then the tail was not protected in armor, but that was how they could swim. But based on those very early fishes, it then sort of split up in between the sharks and the other types of fish. All right, so if we divide fish into two major groups, and we know sharks belong to one of them because of something they have, what's the other kind of fish? All right, I give you all a clue. You already said that sharks belong to a group which don't have hard skeletons. They have got cartilaginous skeletons, skeletons that are sort of flexible. So what would be the other kind of fish? Big clue there. Would you like to try to answer? Oh wait, Chiaru, you have your hand up? Nope. Anyone else? Brandon's disappeared.
Christine? Christine, you want to answer?
Christine, you want to try and answer that? Think about fish that we normally eat.
Cuttlefish?
Cuttlefish is actually not a real fish. Who said that, by the way?
Tiana, I think.
Cuttlefish is same family as squid and octopus.
Tuna and salmon.
Yep.
Saltfish.
So what do salmon, tuna, and saltfish have in common that is different from sharks and rays?
Saltfish has a really long snout, but tunas are really big. And salmon, I think salmon is something about like flying fish because when they migrate, they have to leap over tall slopes, so they have to power themselves and then to enable.
Yep, this is all true. What I'm getting at is that they have a bony skeleton. So the fish are now divided into the bony fish and the fish that have cartilaginous skeletons like the sharks. All right, well done, guys. I really didn't want to turn this into like a question answer session. I just wanted to have a like round table talk with you. Okay, Brendan's got his hand up again. What's up, Brendan?
The shark's bones are cartilage because it is lighter, and thus that makes the sharks very fast predators.
True.
That's because they don't have to carry the weight of such heavy bones.
Yeah, true. Brendan brought up something about sharks needing to swim all the time. All right, and again, this is going back to the difference between bony fish and sharks. Most bony fish, not all bony fish, but there's a thing. There's a special organ inside bony fish that most sharks don't have, and this allows the fish to adjust their buoyancy. All right. Do you guys know what that particular internal organ might be? Kara?
Swim bladder.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. Well done. A swim bladder. Okay. And so maybe somebody else can sort of expand on this. So bony fish have swim bladders, which allows them to adjust their buoyancy up and down, and sharks don't have. So why do you think they develop so differently? And how do you think it affected their body shape? Or is that too cheem a question? All right, I'll pull it back a bit. Okay. Okay, I'll pull it back a lot right now. Sharks. We've brought in the coloration of sharks, all right? And we know that sharks are colored dark on the top and usually lighter on the bottom, which helps with the camouflage, so the prey can't see where they are. All right, but what about the, in between all those sharks? You have things like the Thresher Sharks, the blue sharks and stuff like that. I mean, for example, why a blue shark called blue? Would anybody know that? Okay. Yeah, Brenda? Are they actually blue?
Yeah, the body, it just looks blue.
Sure. But why do you think it's blue?
Because it is camouflage, as the oceans that they live in are a little bit blue, so they can blend in.
Yeah, absolutely correct. So do you think that's the same reason why tuna looks the way it looks?
Yes.
Okay, good. What about some of the bigger fish, like whale sharks? Why would they have spots on it? Why do rays have coloration? Like, the blue spotted ray, which lives in our coral reefs. Any ideas why it would have blue spots like that?
I know. They don't exactly blend in with the surroundings because of the coloration. That is why I think the coloration is to attract a mate.
Okay. Good point, Brendan. That's a very good point. Tiana, you have something to add?
What about camouflage that breaks the pattern?
That is a very good point. Actually, I was hoping somebody would say that. The fish like the whale shark, which has the spots and the banding, if you look at a whale shark, where does it normally feed? Near the surface or in the deep water?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So if it has patterns which are made up of spots and sort of irregular lines, if you look down at the seawater from on top, if you're in the air, the water breaks up into ripples, correct? So that helps the shark look like it's got sort of ripple patterns on it. Tiana, you had something to add?
No, after you said it, Santa.
Oh, okay, you're going to say that? I'm sorry. Yeah, you're probably going to say that as well, all right? For fish that live on a reef, things like the blue spotted ray or the cat shark for that matter, which are quite spotty, same reason. So a lot of it, how many guys have snorkeled on a coral reef before? Oh, wow. You know what? Contact Nature Society and tell them that to call Sichuan in, and maybe when the borders open, I'll take you snorkeling in Tioman someplace and show you what coral reef looks like. Or Lisa can do that too, or Shuyin can do that too. But coral reefs are really, really colorful. And if you look at coral reef fish, they are very colorful. A lot of the times, the colors are not meant to be camouflage. They're meant to be signals to their community, okay? So part of it, yes, is looking for mate, and part of it is to tell the other fish, you know, I live here, this is what I look like. It's the same with humans. Humans try and look different from each other just so that we have our own individual characters. So fish have that too. And once the fish recognize each other in the community, they are quite neighborly, so that if a strange fish comes in, all the other fish will go and look at the strange fish and say, oh, that's not one of us. And the first thing they do is hide, all right? So sharks are same fish, same like everything else, okay? Kara says it's a warning and a way to stand out from its species. That's correct. Okay. How are we doing on time, Shuyin?
I think we maybe we can have one last comment or question before we show a video.
Wait,
Okay, I'd like actually Christine to say something. She's been very quietly absorbing everything. Christine, would you like to say something?
I know that some of the most dangerous types of sharks are the great white shark, the tiger shark, the oceanic white-tipped sharks, the bull sharks, and the short fin mako. And then I've also learned that there are also sharks that are not dangerous, such as snail sharks, frill sharks, leopard sharks, Caribbean reef sharks, and angel sharks.
That's very good, Christine. Well done. All right. Do we have time for one more that we can add?
You can have one last one.
One last one?
I want. Whale shark spots are like fingerprints. They are very different.
Oh, wow. Yes, that's very true. And that's actually how they identify whale sharks. They look at their patterning on the body so that it helps to identify them. And the researchers in places like South Africa, Australia, and the Philippines use that technique to try and ID their whale sharks. That's very good, Brendan. Okay. All of the panelists did a very good job. I do apologize if I missed any of you out. And I also apologize for bringing up certain things that I'm not supposed to, like some certain agencies I'm not supposed to. Okay. Sorry about that. The last thing that we'll have is a short video. And it is not a very pretty video, I'm afraid to say. It's a very hard video to watch for some people, but what I'm hoping is that it will make everybody here think about how we are treating our world. All right? Okay, showing off to you.
Yeah, I will show the video. Just give me a second. So can everyone see my screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Okay, great.
Right, guys, what do you think of the video?
It's a bit blurry.
Yeah,
So
I know I
sad.
couldn't get a better video than that, but I hope you all got the message from that.
It's very sad.
It is very sad, and it makes me feel very sad too.
Makes me kind of feel a bit scared about seeing all those dead bodies around.
Yeah,
What to say is actually the shark is not only have their scale, they also have meat, livers, and all other part of the body, sometimes teeth.
yeah. And one of the points that we all should be thinking about, and everybody should be sort of being aware about is, and this is the word that everybody should know about right now, it's called sustainability. Currently,
Oh yeah, I also heard. Excuse me. I also heard that like shark they can't be forced to breed. Like can't keep the shark inside. Take two sharks, place inside, one male, one female, and force them to breed.
yeah, it can't be done. So the sad part is that the current fisheries in the world, all fisheries, is not sustainable. We're catching too many fish, including sharks, and we're not eating all of them. In fact, when we do fisheries, 50% is chucked away because it's considered waste or not what people want. So none of our fisheries are sustainable, and shark fisheries are the worst. They're not sustainable at all. And like I mentioned before, in many different countries throughout the world, sharks are eaten, not just for the fins, but it wasn't. But it's now because of sharks finning that the shark fisheries have become truly unsustainable. Zoe Chua says that hope that shark fin hunting can be banned. Me too. There was an organization that put out the motto, when the eating stops, the killing will too. And that still is a very good point to bring up, right? So if we stop eating shark's fin, hopefully shark's fins as fisheries will stop as well. Charu, yes?
I also heard that there are artificial shark fin.
Yes, there is artificial shark's fin made from a kind of melon.
Yeah, it also can be eaten. Just that when people eat it, they say like not tasty and stuff. Despite both of them having no taste.
Well, yeah, you're true. Shark's fin, what we eat from the shark's fin actually doesn't have any taste. What the taste comes from, actually, where does the taste come from, guys?
Oh yeah, it's also very hard to stop people from eating it because like cultural different. People sometimes eat it because like they think that is good luck or stuff or very cultural.
Yep.
So it's very hard to get rid of cultural.
The taste is from the soup, not from the shark fin.
Yep, that's very good. So Jeru and Tiana, you're both correct. Shuying, should we wrap it up?
Okay, Sikchuan. Yes, I think I have to interject at this point, unfortunately. So I'm just going to share a screen very quickly. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So thank you all for coming today. We just want to let you know that the session today is actually organized by the Marine Conservation Group NSS and volunteers. So if you want, like what Sikchuan mentioned just now, you want to take part in like guided nature walks, you want to go for bird and butterfly watches, workshops, or even overseas trips and eco trips, you can join us as a family member. And there's also a lot of volunteering opportunities and even opportunities to get involved in conservation and to protect the marine animals. Okay, so you can get to know more about NSS through the Facebook or the Instagram or even the website. And last but not least, today is Wednesday, so we have Thursday. Tomorrow we have coral reef, and then on Friday we have sea turtle. So if you have not signed up for these two sessions, you can sign up at this URL. You want to take a screenshot now in case you haven't signed up. Okay.
Actually, I want to make a promotion here. In the Nature Society, there's the subgroup called Marine Conservation Group. It needs more love.
Yes, so everyone, you can, this session today is organized by the Marine Conservation Group as well. So you can just find out more about us on the website, or you can talk to Sek-Chuan, talk to Lisa, talk to any of us. You have our contact details. And last but not least, I would like to take a group photo of everyone here today, because we all love sharks and we all want to know more about sharks. So if everyone can turn on your video and say hi, and then I can take a quick picture, that would be great. Okay, everyone ready? Just pause, wave. Oh, Tristan, okay, yes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, one more just in case. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, great. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at Coral Reefs Talk, 1 p.m.
Thank you,
I have
guys.
Thank you, Sek-Chuan.
Thank you.